and welcome to the first ever Santa Cruz County Office of Education Distance Learning Boot Camp. Hopefully we won't have to have too many of these in the future, but welcome back educators and welcome back teachers. Stephanie, can you please go to the next slide?
Yes, yeah. We're happy to have everybody here.
I am Jason Borgen, the Chief Technology Officer for the Santa Cruz County Office of Education, and I do want to introduce our new distance learning TOSA.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Stephanie Sumarna, and I just joined the COE as a distance learning TOSA. So here to support teachers and admin this year in the change ahead. I'm coming from Bonnie Doon Elementary School. Shout out to Bonnie Doon as a third grade teacher. So we're so happy to have everybody here today. Super excited with the turnout.
And so with that, I want to showcase who is here, and I'm very happy to report we have representation from every single school district in Santa Cruz County. How about a virtual round of applause? All right. Very excited to have over 400 registrants. I know there's some educators probably still sleeping because we have about 148 right now, but that's okay. There's lots of activities to engage in throughout today's distance learning bootcamp. Next slide, please.
Right. Okay. So one of your first jobs today is I'd like you to check in on a scale of Godzilla. How are you feeling today, this morning, on a Friday morning? So Jason's pulling up a quick poll right there so you can vote 1 through 9. Okay, got a lot of 5s.
And I know there's lots of changes happening with your current workload and scope of work, but that's okay because our role is still to educate students. So we're excited to support you in those efforts. Right. And just another couple seconds here as you vote on how you're feeling based upon Godzilla's face.
Looks like 5 is winning out, Jason. A lot of foreheads.
All right. Yeah, and that's okay. Hopefully you'll be ready to be number 1 starting next week. Yeah. So thank you for being here at the end of the day. All right. So thank you for participating in our Zoom poll.
All right. So next slide. We'd like to introduce Ferris.
All right. So welcome our County Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Ferris Sabah, to do an official welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Jason and Stephanie. Thanks to everybody who's joining us today. We are really excited to be offering this distance learning boot camp. We have over 400 people who registered, and as Jason mentioned, from across the county. You know, there's this. I've been reading this distance learning playbook, and one of the first things, the first chapter is actually about caring for yourself as a teacher. This has been some of the most stressful time for parents and students and staff, and especially for our teachers. All of the pivots we've had to do in education, all of the changes, the adaptations, it's been tough. And I feel so privileged to work in an industry that is dedicated to focusing on students and overcoming the huge challenges that have been thrown our way. Part of that is obviously this move towards distance learning. I think we learned a lot from what happened in the spring. And I think that your participation in this boot camp, it's really about, you're probably the most important part of the system of support for our students. Your connection with the students, both in the past and both in the present, as you're working with them, getting to know them, connecting with them daily, figuring out how to create that engaging, robust learning experience for them. All of those pieces are such a fundamental piece of what we're able to do, and the importance of the kinds of the supports that we need to wrap our students around. And so I'm just really grateful for your willingness to continue developing your skills as a teacher, figuring out creative new ways to engage your students, and keeping your eye on the prize on our students, and making sure that we're doing everything we can to keep them engaged, keep them healthy, keep them well. And also, we'd like to remind you about taking care of yourself. It doesn't help any of us for folks to be in dealing with all of this stress. It's something that we want to make sure that we're able to take care of ourselves so that we are able to care for others. So just great appreciation for everything that you do every day, recognition of how important your role is, and thank you for being a part of this training. We're excited to offer it. We're going to continue to offer different resources to support you in your work and to, again, find creative ways to connect with students and engage them in their learning and in their well-being. And we're really excited about having Stephanie join our team. She brings a wealth of knowledge and experience, and part of our Tech Plus and education services kind of collection of resources that we're making available to you, both online and in person, and we're here to help. And the County Office of Education has also gone through a lot of pivots to think about how we can best be of service to you and to our students. So thank you for what you do. Thank you for your hard work. Thanks for being a part of this training. Back to you, Jason.
Thank you, Dr. Sabah. I appreciate that. And just a little logistical piece with the chat. I noticed a lot of people are chatting and putting great, they're introducing themselves, but you're only sending it to the panelist. So if you can click the little drop-down arrow next to where it says to, you can actually say all panelists and attendees. So you want to make sure you share and communicate with your peers across the county. So again, click that drop-down menu and say all panelists and attendees to make sure you're chatting with everyone in the room. All right, and so thank you, everyone. And I also want to introduce our Associate Superintendent of Educational Services, Debbie Bodenheimer. Debbie, you want to say a couple words?
Sure, thank you. And I just want to thank Stephanie and Jason for all of their hard work on this. Stephanie has been part of our team for, I think, less than a month, and she has hit the ground running. And she's been doing a fabulous job supporting our districts and with professional development. So I know we'll have a lot of great things coming this year from the Ed Services Department. I also wanted to mention that we do have a great distance learning website that Stephanie will be maintaining. It has a ton of resources, and we just posted last night our professional learning plan, which has all of our PD offerings for the year. We know it will be really flexible and things will change as needed. And we will be sending out probably bi-weekly updates with new changes and new PD that we'll be offering. So please check out our website. Our PD calendar is on there. We will be offering a lot to support the districts, and we certainly can offer personal support as well if there's custom areas that people would like us to cover. So thank you again for attending today. Hope you have a great year. The county office is here to support you, and we're really looking forward to working together this year.
Thanks, Debbie. Okay.
All right, so I want to introduce you guys to a book. I'm not sure if you've seen this book. It actually was written in 2008 by Michael Horn and Clayton Christensen, and they did a lot of work around research in blended and online classrooms all across the country and really the globe. And it's interesting, they said in this book in 2008, by 2019, 50% of all high school classes will be offered online. They were just a year off, and they were 50% off because in spring of 2020, 100% of schools went online. And so it's very interesting that they predicted this back in 2008, but it's really an interesting book of how we disrupt our current paradigms and how we've been disrupted by a pandemic. And one of my colleagues used this term, we're kind of pandemic pivoting, the pandemic pivot. And so how we're moving forward, we have to pivot, but we still have a role to do to support our children. So again, it's a very interesting read, even for today's, even a 12-year-old book. It's a very, very interesting read if you're interested. Next slide, Stephanie. All right, so but it is almost fall, and you start school very soon if you haven't already. I know a couple schools already started in Santa Cruz County. And so this is all about helping and supporting you throughout the start of your new school year 2021. There's some changes, but there's also some similarities of what you're used to as far as working with colleagues, connecting with your peers, and supporting your students. All right, so we look forward to supporting you all throughout this year.
Thanks, Jason. Yeah, so as Jason said, it's about working together. So I have a little clip, a couple of clips for you from a TED Talk by Lorna Davis, who talks about the difference between hero culture and collaborative leadership. So in a time like this, we all need to work together. We need to lean in, we need to engage and work together to meet the high expectations for this year. So here's a little clip.
A hero sets a goal that can be individually delivered and neatly measured. You can recognize a heroic goal. They use terms like revenue and market share and are often competitive. I mean, remember Pink Suit Day? Interdependent leaders, on the other hand, start with a goal that's really important but is actually impossible to achieve by one company or one person alone.
And I have another quick clip to show you from that same TED Talk. So she mentions Pink Suit Day. She's a business executive, and she talks about how at the beginning of the year, she put on a fancy pink suit and she gave a big hero talk to everybody, and then nothing happened. And so what she needed is she needed buy-in from all of her team in order to achieve her goals.
The second big difference for collaborators is their willingness to declare their goals before they have a plan. Now, the hero only reveals their carefully crafted goal when the path to achieve it is clear. In fact, the role of the hero announcement is to set the stage for the big win. Hero announcements are full of triumph. Interdependent leaders, on the other hand, want other people to help them, so their announcements are often an invitation for co-creation, and sometimes they're a call for help.
So I have for you a call for help. Just kidding, a really big goal that I don't have a clear mapped out vision for how we're going to get there. So usually my teacher nightmares involve some sort of tsunami. So when I saw this, it really registered for me. I have a big goal that in the coming year, we as educators in Santa Cruz County can work together to meet or exceed the same rigorous expectations in distance learning that we do in our brick and mortar classrooms. And so I'm so happy to see how many of us have really tuned in today. We've got over 400 people registered. We're all here to work together to figure out how we're gonna do what's best for our students. So that is my big messy goal. I love this quote. Ferris brought up the idea of he brought up the distance learning playbook. You'll see that we referenced that a few times in this presentation. So beyond, meeting the same rigorous expectations that we do in brick and mortar classrooms, I'm also hoping that in this time of distance learning, we might find that it's an opportunity to engage students in different ways and to potentially address some of the needs that could not have been met in traditional classes. So Jason talked about that change in mindset, thinking of, there might be new opportunities there that we haven't taken advantage of previously. So another quote that really resonated with me from the distance learning playbook is, although you may be new to distance learning, you aren't new to education. You've been doing this. You know what's right for the students. You can remember why you started. You started for the engagement, you started for the relationships that we have with our kids, for the connections that we have with our fellow educators. And so these are the reasons why we're here. They haven't changed just because we're in a different platform. So I have a question. In your mind, what do you think a win will look like at the end of the school year? We have that tsunami coming. We have this big messy goal of trying to make distance learning work. What will a win look like? So I'd like you all right now, if you could, if you have your phone next to you like I do, you can hover over the QR code and go ahead and enter the password. And please type in 1 or 2 words. What will a win look like at the end of this year?
And as you're doing this, Slido is a wonderful free tool that you can use. It's actually an add-on within Google Slides that you can embed polling directly within your Google Slide. And there's you can use it for formative assessments. You can use it for quick checks for understanding, or just other engagement strategies as well. It's a great way to quickly engage your students in quick assessments.
Right, we see community really coming out as a big one.
Those connections are very important, relationships and community, absolutely. Right. In fact, that is chapter 2 in the distance learning playbook. It talks all about how to build that community and get to know your students and how your students get to know you. The social emotional piece is still relevant, even at a distance.
Maybe 1 more minute to get your words put in. Thriving community, engagement, survival. Yay, our boot camp made it up there, Jason. Okay, so I'm super excited. Thank you guys for entering that. It looks like community is coming out on the forefront of what a win will look like at the end of this year. So with that in mind, I want to go ahead and show you a preview of the schedule for today. So we have our day organized into AM and PM sessions around 4 themes. So the first in the morning in the AM sessions, our themes are community building and social emotional learning, as well as synchronous lesson design and engagement strategies. So we talked a lot about how a win at the end of this year is going to look like community. It's going to look like student engagement. So I'm hoping that you'll find the sessions this morning really pertinent to that. In the middle of the day, we invite you to turn off your screens and take a 45-minute break. And then if you feel like joining us for a virtual staff room, we can all sit down and eat lunch together and have a little bit of chat time that's unstructured. And then in our PM sessions, the sessions are organized around the themes of asynchronous lesson design and assessment. And then in the afternoon, we're going to have an opportunity to meet together in grade and subject-alike groups to reflect on the day and set next steps for the year. I also want to remind you that we've got all the resources for today on that distance learning website. The link is there in yellow, dlearning.santacruzcoe.org/bootcamp. We've got the schedule at a glance, which contains the Zoom links for all the sessions and also a detailed schedule. And then I also have a few shameless plugs. We've got a differentiation for distance learning series that's coming up about how do we make learning accessible for all. We've got a kickoff for that on August 26th, and then that will be an ongoing series throughout the year. On that same date, August 26th, we'll be starting a book study on the book Edge of Protocol by John Carippo. And the first 100 people that register will be able to get a free copy of that book. So information on that coming soon. And I just want to remind you, if for any reason you need to access these recordings later, they will be posted on our Santa Cruz COE YouTube channel, which is also a home to a lot of other really good resources. In case you weren't able to join us at the Distance Learning Leader Summit earlier this summer, we've got all of those sessions recorded there for you. So it's a really great resource for PD on demand on your own time. And of course, the distance learning website. Thank you, Debbie, for plugging that in the beginning and just reminding you of that again at the end. So we're looking forward to this journey, and I want us all to remember that we teachers have embraced our responsibility to impact learning irrespective of the format of school. I hope that you guys all have a great day of learning, and I can't wait to see what comes out of today. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to our presenters and to all of you for coming.